What's going on, everybody? Today I wanted to talk about this mini documentary that I had shot probably about 2 or 3 years ago. And the reason I want to look back at older work is because this story is just an amazing story. It's about a guy named Elliott Smith attempting to be the youngest to sail in the Golden Globe race. And the Golden Globe race is a nonstop race around the world with no assistance, solo, with no technology, I think no later than the 70s. So you have to use the celestial navigation. So you're using the sun and the moon and the stars to get to where you need to go. Which is absolutely mind-blowing because I would probably die. Anyways, the second reason I would want to look back at this work is because during this time in my life, I was working for a film company out in Houston, Texas, called Film Lab. An incredible group of people and a small team, about 6, I think at the time, and incredible work. They did incredible work. But my season here in Texas was coming to a close, and my wife and I felt called to come back to our home state of Florida and pursue freelance work. And so this was my very first project as a freelancer, and that alone is nostalgic. And so I kind of want to look back at what I've learned, what things I probably would have changed, the gear I used, some of the interview setups, and what I was thinking, and some of the lighting breakdowns of that. So yeah, let's jump into that. Cool. So this scene, this is the first day I've seen him, and I'm coming into his boat and checking things out, and I'm seeing where we're going to do an interview, and the boat inside is just cool. It's just super cool. It already has everything I want. It's just it's pretty grungy because he's working on it. It's dirty. He looks like he's been working all day, and he's in the same shirt. I think he was sleeping in his van during this time. He was sacrificing a lot to get this job done, and that kind of just showed. That was the cool part. We get into the boat. I'm trying to think how we're gonna light this because there's so much stuff right here, and then the windows are there's one window right here, and that's where the interview is. He's sitting right inside the boat right here. The window's here. I think this window's actually blocked off with some stuff, and so there wasn't many options. And I had I had a 1C stand, and I put it to the highest level, and it barely made it, and the light was right here shining in. And so that's what we're seeing here. This is the key light coming in, just pouring in as much as I possibly could. When I got there, it was really sunny, and then when I started shooting, it started raining. So not the best scenario. This would have looked a little bit probably more natural if the sun was out here when I got when I got there, but couldn't do anything about it. It was just me, so there was no way I already did it. I ran up and down this ladder trying to fix things to the point where I was I'm so tired. I'm not going back up there. I'm not going back down there. And I couldn't see the monitor either, so I was just kind of guessing. The Forza 500 is coming as the key light. We have a Forza 60 that's coming back here. It's hitting this it's on a projection mount, so it's kind of slashing across. Maybe that doesn't make sense when I'm looking at it. It doesn't, but maybe it does. I don't know. It's more for just a little bit of style and a little bit of flair and interest. Then up here I have a tube light. It's the Pavotube 2s, the 15X, I believe, and that's just kind of filling in this space. Looking back at it now, I probably should have put some cine foil on it or something to kind of put some more direction on it. I like that it's hitting this area, but I probably would have put it more back here instead of long, because long is obviously making this shadow. I can see it cutting. I'm actually aware of that literally right now. Back in the day, I did not notice that, but I'm seeing it cut across. So I have it long ways, so it's coming this way when I should have probably had it this way, so I could just edged him out here. Another thing I probably would have added are 2 things here. So I would have brought the key light a little bit more wrapped around. That way I would have got this a wedge in here, not a square, a triangle. I would have got that Rembrandt a little bit, but again, I wasn't running back down here and checking, and hopefully it worked. I ran out of time, and it would have been nice to have an assistant. But if I had maybe a smaller tube light or MCs, those could have been sweet under here, and just kind of filling in this space and maybe somehow make it a practical or whatnot, and just filling in that light and those, because I'm losing so much detail here. I would have probably liked to brought that up a little bit. I'm shooting this on the S1H, which is a Panasonic camera from 2019. Not a lot of people know about it because it got overshadowed in 2020, but when every other camera started coming out. But this camera is incredible. I've been using it for the past 5 years. I use it for all my projects. I'm shooting it with it right now. It's just a beast of a camera. It's a full frame. It's 6K open gate before anyone was doing it at this level. It doesn't have internal NDs or anything, but maybe the S2H will whenever that comes out, if we get one of those. But whatever I'm trying to say is I just love the camera. It's an amazing camera. If you have a chance to check it out, please do. All right, let's move on to the next stuff. So everything here, we got 1, 2, 3 other scenes within the same scene. And I used the same lighting setup. I didn't change anything. And these 2 scenes, the sun came out, as you can see right here. The sun's out. That's what it was looking like when I first got there. And so it's kind of filling in all this space. I do believe the Forza's still coming in, but I did move the Forza 60. The Forza 60 is hitting down here into a slash, and so you can see it from up here. And that was more for visual interest. It doesn't make sense, but it's more visual interest. I liked it. I like the look. I love this shot. And you can see the sun's coming in and filling in all this ambience. I don't have the tube light anymore there, but I do believe the Forza's coming in. But it's so bright outside now that I don't think you can really tell. You probably could tell right here. There's like a little bit of a highlight right in there. But yeah, no, this shot's mostly the sun's doing it with a little bit of visual interest from the Forza 60. But yeah, I didn't change much from this original scene all the way through. It's pretty much the same thing. Kind of left it and just kind of rolled with that. This is the Forza 60, and you can a little bit more believable because now the sun, you don't see this dark gray rain cloud out there. We're cutting that off, and we see just the Forza coming in and filling it in and look like it's extreme sunlight coming in. And it's beautiful because it's kind of hitting into it's kind of wrapping just a little bit. And mainly that's because it's bouncing. I have a bounce over here on the outside. You can't see it, but it's bouncing in the Forza back into his face, so it's filling in the spot. The Forza's like giving this backlight, hair light, looks really good. And it's kind of filling in really soft, and I really, really love this. It was super easy. I mean, I'm not doing really anything but one light and a bounce, and it's probably even using half this whitish wall. It's kind of like a yellowish wall, but it's bouncing that back into here, which kind of gives him probably a warmer look than I was really planning for, and I liked it. I liked it a lot. So I wouldn't say it's no masterclass, anything happening here. It's just using what I had and bouncing it in this really, really tiny space. I mean, literally, it's so tiny. As you can see right here, I'm shooting like right here for that interview, and then there's like stuff. He had all kinds of like work stuff and his stuff that he's living in. He's like redoing the whole boat, so a lot of stuff. But yeah, so that's pretty much those scenes. Now let's look at these last 2 scenes. This is like towards the front of the boat, or I guess the back of the boat. He's right here. My wife and I were here. She came out that day. It was our second day shooting, and I'm like right here in this pit. And now we're not shooting shadow side. I do like that we do see the shadow here. It's not quite shadow side, but the sun is coming in and it's raking across his face. It's coming all the way down his leg, and that looks really cool. And then I also have a bounce here. I have a bounce here that's taking the sun and bouncing it back into all of this. I'm terrible at drawing, by the way, as it's like everywhere. But basically, it's like it's like an L. It's coming and bouncing back. And so that's kind of what I was thinking of doing. I couldn't sit on this side. It was too much sun, if that makes any sense, where it was like I couldn't see him. It was super dark, and if I bounced it, it was looking really fake. It was such close quarters, I couldn't move anything around, so this became our best option. I do believe this looks decent because of the angle. I think the angle just kind of gives it a little bit more visual interest, and that helps a lot. So the composition here is really what's selling it for me. And then a little bit of this hair light from the sun and scraping across his cheek looks cool. This one's even more simple. Honestly, I'm just using the sun and using the boat as a bounce. So the sun's coming in, it's hitting across his arm. You can see like some right here on his shirt. Looks really nice. His hair looks super cool. He's got magical hair in the sun. And then that's bouncing off this white side of the boat. And it's just filling in this side of him. Look how soft it is on his face, on his neck, and filling in the shadows. And it just looks just so good. I believe I'm also using the prism lens effect. I'm using their filter. I think it's it would have been probably the Dream filter, and it was like helping softening a lot of this. I'm using their ND filter as well, which is the best ND filter, I believe. It's stackable. If you're doing like a variable ND filter, that one is by far my favorite. You can see I'm using it here. Let's see, it's got that little blue, like right here is like that little blue flares because it's a blue ND filter, and the sun's bouncing off it and back. But that is literally my favorite filter. I think they made a black one, which is the one I need to get because I want to get that blue flare. But if you were to get any filter, I can't recommend that ND filter more than any other variable ND filter. The skin tone is good. It doesn't have that green tingy. Sometimes they have the X and all that crossover junk. Like, it doesn't have any of that. It's an incredible filter for the price, and I use it on all my projects. So yeah, just to wrap up, super simple stuff. I just used pretty much the sun for the most of the shoot, and then anything that was in the boat I used the light for. So but it's crazy what you can get away with just literally the sun and some bounce. So don't be afraid to use that. Don't think you need to get more gear. I believe it's super useful, and some clients might be like, you want to show up with some gear for the clients, but don't fall away from using the natural sunlight. It's so beneficial. It's so fun. It's a little less controlled, yes, but in a pinch you can make some magical stuff. I will say this is some older work. I have done so much more work since, and I'm looking to do more of these kind of videos, kind of showing the gear I'm using, how to use like a one light setup if you need one light. Just at NAB, and I saw some cheaper options and way more powerful options from Nanlite that should be coming out this month. So there's a lot of light that is going to be accessible to a lot of people now. That's very powerful. So I'm going to be doing a lot of those kind of breakdowns of how to use those lights, how to bounce them off to the wall, and how to get a nice soft key. So if you're interested in any of that, wanting to learn more about the filmmaking aspect of things and how to get some more clients and what is a client expecting, walking you guys through that, I'm going to start jumping into more of that stuff. Please follow along. I would love to have you here. I really appreciate you watching, and yeah, hope to see you around.